The film begins with Madison and her boyfriend Scott, who get the idea to spend their vacation in the cursed house. The house where more than one crime took place, to the extent that all those terrifying events were written in a book and later turned into a famous film series. Most of the fanatic fans like Scott come and treat it as a tourist attraction. To know what happened back then, we go back years ago when a masked killer appeared in town out of nowhere and finished off many victims. The first of them was Sydney's mother. Sydney is the girl who started the events and continues with us until now. 30 years ago, in the same house, we learned that it belongs to their friend Stu. At that time, they invited all their friends to hang out together. The party ended with a big massacre. The masked killer finished off her close friend Tatum in the house garage after he separated her head from her body. As for her boyfriend Billy, he revealed to her that he was the killer from the beginning and that there were two of them, not one. The second killer was her friend Stu. At that time, Billy confessed to her that he did all of this after he discovered that her mother was having an affair with his father. He wanted to take revenge on her. The one who saved her from them was the journalist Gail. She distracted their attention. She is the same one who wrote about her mother's death. There was a strong enmity between them because of that book. Sydney took advantage of the moment and finished off Stu after she dropped the television on him and he lost his life by electrocution. In the end, she finished off her boyfriend Billy and gave him a bullet in the middle of his head. After that, people became obsessed with the idea of the masked killer to the extent that they wrote everything that happened that day and turned it into a movie and named it Stab. Everyone became fascinated by the killer and his style. Many killers appeared who tried to imitate him and finished off many people, all just to become famous. Just a few years ago, 2 crimes happened in the same house, and the group that survived finished off 2 killers there. As for Sydney, she distanced herself from all these events and got married and had children and left the past behind her. We return to the present time, and we notice that Scott remembers every detail in the place. He knows where each one of them died and how. He stands and takes pictures everywhere. After Madison comes back from the bathroom, she looks left and right and does not find him. She keeps calling him and looking for him until she enters a dark place. As soon as she turns on the light, she finds the killer in front of her with his weapon raised at her. At that moment, she screams and runs. At that moment, Scott appears in front of her, so she tells him that the killer is in the house and she just saw him with her own eyes. She begs him to call the police and leave from here. But he gets excited and wants to check for himself. He enters the room but discovers that it is a fake killer and a prop that works with a motion sensor and moves when he moves his hand. He reassures her not to worry and takes her with him. He keeps telling her about what happened back then. Suddenly, the house phone rings. At that moment, Scott answers quickly and is excited to experience the atmosphere that the victims used to experience when the killer would call them and ask them their usual question about the horror movies they watch. If they answered wrong, he would finish them off. He talks to the artificial intelligence and welcomes them. Then he tells them that he will ask them 3 questions, and if they get them wrong, they will lose their lives. Scott answers them all correctly except the last one, but Madison intervenes and saves him. The artificial intelligence tells them that, unfortunately, it will leave them alive. After he hangs up, he notices that his girlfriend is not happy, so he asks her, "Why did you come with me here?" At that time, she tells him that she wanted to share the things he loves, but she feels that the place is boring and stupid. Still, she will try to adapt. After a while, he leaves her and goes to the bathroom. At that time, she gets a call from an unknown number. As soon as she answers, a person talks to her and tells her that she will lose her life today. She tells him, "Stop your stupid joke, Scott," and thinks he is joking with her to change his mood. But the other tells her that he is not her boyfriend. She tries to go along with him and asks him, "Well, who are you?" He tells her that he is the killer who will finish her off. But she still does not believe him and tells him that he needs to deepen his voice a bit more than that. He gives her a cocktail of insults and that he will do and undo to her. She gets upset by what he said and tells him that she has changed her mind and wants to leave from here. But he blocks the way in front of her. Madison does not understand anything and goes to look for him. She notices that the masked killer prop has moved from its place. He talks to her, so she goes towards him and moves her hands left and right in front of him and screams when she finds the real killer standing behind her. She turns around and pushes him and knocks him to the ground. At that time, he takes off the mask and it is Scott playing one of his pranks. She tells him, "This is not the time for your jokes." Suddenly, he notices the masked figure moving and tells her that this time is different and it is as if he has moved for real. When he gets close to him, the killer attacks him and stabs him. In front of her eyes, he pushes the tool into his head and ends his life. She breaks down and runs from the place before he does the same to her, and she loses her life too in this haunted house with 60 stab wounds. But the killer grabs her by her hair and tells her that escaping from here is not worth it, otherwise those before her would have succeeded. At that time, he corners her and raises the sharp tool at her. She resists him and grabs his hand. Suddenly, she gives him a strong push and knocks him down from the upper floor. She hangs on to the chandelier, which keeps moving left and right with her. The truth is she has put herself in danger because suddenly her hands slip and she falls on him. He has prepared the sharp tool for her. Not only that, but he pours gasoline all over the house and soaks her with it as well and sets her and the whole house on fire. On the other side, we see Tatum. She is Sydney's only surviving daughter. Suddenly, she hears a sound coming from her bedroom window. When she gets close to it, she finds her boyfriend Ben. She tells him, "You scared me, what are you doing here?" He tells her honestly, "I was bored, I thought I have never done anything exciting before, so I came to you through the window, I thought I would try my luck." After a while, her mother comes in, but he has already hidden. At that time, her mother catches her and understands that she is hiding something, and that thing is Ben. She calls him to show himself to her. She tells him, "Next time, honey, enter my daughter's house through the front door." With all politeness, she escorts him to his house and gets him to the door. The next day, Sydney sees her daughter coming in wearing her jacket that she used to wear in college. She gets upset because it reminds her of all the terrifying events she lived through at that time and asks her to ask for permission first. Tatum is surprised and takes it off completely. Her mother follows her and tells her that she did not mean it, and she did that because it reminds her of things she does not want to remember. At that time, her daughter blames her for not telling her anything about her old life, and talking about this matter is a red line for her. Sydney tells her that she does not need to tell her because every detail of her life is on the internet and has been made into a book and a film series as well, and she can know everything about her very easily. She leaves her and goes to her cafe and meets Lucas, their neighbor, and at the same time her daughter's classmate. Without any introduction, he tells her that a new part has been released in the film series that tells the story of the masked killer and asks her if she watched it. Her mother comes from behind her and realizes that her son must have told her about the new movie because she knows he is obsessed with the series and the killer's stories. She scolds him in front of her. At the school theater, we see them during rehearsal. They present their show and it turns into disasters and they mess it up. The acting coach calls Hannah and tells her that she and Aaron still need training. At the end of the day, we see Sydney getting a call from an unknown number. She cannot forget that she was a call center agent at one time, and she records the call. She lets him speak, and he tells her that he has missed her since she left New York and started a family. She tells him, "It seems you know everything about me," and she reveals to him that she also noticed that he called her from a fake number and uses a program to change his voice. When she succeeds in provoking him, he video calls her. She answers immediately and is surprised that it is Stu, the killer she finished off a long time ago, and he was behind everything that happened along with her boyfriend Billy. She doubts that it is fabricated and does not believe that he managed to survive and escape death. He talks about her daughter, whom she named Tatum after the name of their friend whom he finished off himself. He hints at a nice coincidence that he is also destined to finish her off as well. He shows her that he is now outside her school theater. She panics about her daughter and moves quickly there and alerts her husband Mark, who we learn is a police detective. She tells him the killer has returned and is now close to our daughter. He also notifies all units and they try to catch Tatum. At the theater, we see Hannah training with Aaron after the coach yelled at them because of their performance. She is hanging from ropes like a marionette doll. He stands controlling them from afar. But he suddenly feels that something is strange and as if he is not alone. Suddenly, Jessica is lifted up and keeps calling Aaron and tells him that if he is joking, then his joke is not nice. But he does not answer her. To complete the horror, the lights cut off. After a while, we see the killer pressing the button and shining the light on her. Suddenly, she finds herself lifted up and slammed down. The killer keeps swinging her left and right in a terrifying way. Suddenly, the killer himself appears to her. As soon as she sees him, she is terrified and knows that her end is near because everyone who saw him he finished off. She watches him as he enjoys that she is hanging. Every time she gets close to him, he stabs her. As for her, she begs and he does not hurt her and screams, hoping that someone will come and save her, until he gives her the final blow and stabs her a stab that makes all her insides come out. At that moment, Sydney arrives at the place. As soon as she sees him in front of her, she gives him a strong punch and grabs her gun and shoots at him. But he manages to escape. The surprise is that when she chases him, she finds that he has also finished off Erin. She panics about her daughter, that he might have done something to her, and calls her loudly. At that moment, Tatum appears, so she is happy and hugs her. After that, the police interrogate one of them, and they start asking them, "Where were you at the time of the incident?" They hear their answers and suspect Clover after she told them that she was in the changing room alone. Stu was also in the same place, and she says in front of them, "I did not see him there." As for Mark, he stands with Sydney and tells her that it is clear the killer knows the place well, to the point that he was able to plan and execute and escape from the back door very easily. Sydney cannot bear that this nightmare is repeating itself again after she closed that chapter and thought she had closed it forever. She hints to him that it might be Stu who has returned. At that time, he assures her that he died a long time ago and they know where his grave is. As for the call she received, they will investigate the matter until they reach the killer. At that time, her eyes fall on Ben, her daughter's boyfriend, and she draws her husband's attention that he is good with computers and has a degree in computer science. He tells her anyone can fake a photo and it is not a big deal. He asks her to return with her daughter to the house. She goes but refuses for Ben to come with them and has her suspicions about him. Tatum notices this and blames her for treating him that way and criticizes her that just because her boyfriend back then was the killer does not mean that Ben will turn out like him too. After that, Mark has his colleagues search the house inch by inch. When they do not find anything, he sends them to search the rest of the houses in the neighborhood to look for the killer because they are sure that he is hiding somewhere close to them. The truth is they do not expect that this place is the roof of their house where the killer is hiding. They pack their bags and get ready to leave the area. At that time, Tatum is surprised and talks to her mother and tells her so the great Sydney Prescott, who survived all the incidents, is now afraid and packing her bags. Sydney replies to her that she is not as strong as she used to be and is afraid for her that something might happen to her. That is why she is forced to run away. We see the killer close to her, but she does not notice him. She enters to her husband and asks him why he turned off the light. He tells me, "I thought you turned it off." Suddenly, they find the place dark around them and realize that it seems they are not alone. At that moment, he takes a fighting stance and grabs his gun and asks her not to leave him and to stay behind him. Suddenly, they find the killer coming out with their daughter and a sharp tool at her neck. Sydney begs him to leave her and asks her husband to lower his weapon. She tells the killer here, "I am in front of you, take me instead of her." At that time, Mark looks at his daughter and she signals to him as well and moves away from the killer's path. He pushes him far away and the tool flies from his hand. He catches up with him before he reaches the gun and beats him to it, and they shoot each other. At that time, the killer reaches for the sharp tool to end Mark's life with it. But Sydney acts before him and pushes it with her feet to her husband. The killer grabs her and does not let go. When Mark tries to stab him, he manages to dodge the stab and pushes him and makes him fall down the stairs. He falls on his head and loses consciousness. After that, the killer comes towards them and they run while he runs after them with the sharp tool in his hand. The mother is faster, and it seems that Sydney, because she opens a secret door in the room and gives the killer a strong blow and pushes him away from them and quickly closes the secret door. We learn that it is hard to open because they are inside a metal room. Tatum is surprised by its existence, even though she has lived her whole life in this house and could not discover it. Sydney had planned for this day and secured herself well. She plans to go get her husband from outside, but Tatum begs her not to leave her here alone. At that time, she goes with her. They try to exit through a secret exit that is behind the wall. The killer tries to find out where they are until he manages to hear their voice from behind the wall and knows exactly where they are. He grabs the sharp tool and with all his strength, but luckily he gets it close to Tatum and does not manage to hit her. At that time, he goes crazier and keeps stabbing randomly at the wall. Tatum feels that she will lose her life until his tool gets stuck in the wall. This time he brings an iron rod for them and injures Sydney's hand. But within seconds, they manage to quickly get out of the house. The killer comes out looking left and right to see where this exit has taken them. At that time, Mark comes from behind him and jumps on him and keeps hitting him to distract them from the killer. When Sydney and her daughter see him, she panics about her daughter, but orders her to run quickly and notify the police. Mark is about to be lost in his hands, but his wife grabs an axe and hits the killer on the head. He continues on him and hits him again and pushes him, and they roll over each other until the killer reaches the middle of the road. Suddenly a car comes and takes him off the face of the earth. The journalist Gail gets out of the car. She used to exploit her back then to write a book about her, and now she is her friend and from her close circle. With her are her assistants Mindy and Chad, the twin brothers. They are all the remaining ones from the old people who knew them and went through all the crises with her. They come to check on Sydney and at the same time get a journalistic scoop. As soon as Sydney sees her, she throws herself into her arms and immediately tells her that the killer is Stu, and it has become clear to her that he did not lose his life. She tells her, "Impossible, you are the last one to say that. You yourself broke a television on his head and electrocuted him." She tells her, "Come with me and let us uncover his mask and see for ourselves." When they do that, they are surprised because this time the killer is unknown and no one knows him. Only Sydney knows him from his glimpse in the morning at the cafe when he was giving her strange looks, and his name is Carl, and that is all she knows about him. We learn that every time the killer turned out to be from her close circle or one of their group. So this time the game is outside the box. After a while, a policewoman who is investigating him comes to them and tells them that he is mentally ill and escaped from the hospital less than 2 weeks ago and finished off 3 people. Still, Sydney does not know why he attacked her and her family specifically. As for Mark, he reassures her to rest. She tells him it was never that easy and it definitely will not end like this. We see Lucas while they are meeting Gail in front of them. Lucas is one of her biggest fans. If it were not for the circumstances, he would have asked to take a selfie with her. She understands immediately that he loves horror movies. He tells her more than you can imagine and tells his mother that she is the famous journalist Gail Weathers. The famous horror series Stab is adapted from her book that she wrote, and she also lived through its events. At that time, Gail tells him, "Since you are a fan, explain to your mother that everyone is a suspect and the killer is not always just one person." She leaves them. At that time, Jessica orders her son to stay away from this cursed house completely because they have enough problems and do not need more. At the house, Sydney is surprised how Gail arrived so quickly and how did she know that they were in trouble. She replies to her and tells her that she came because recently 2 crimes happened in the cursed house called Mather, and a son and daughter lost their lives there. She tells her at that time she understood that the masked killer must have returned again, and since he appeared she concluded that he would not leave you alone, so she came to you immediately. She asks her, "Do you think Stu is still really alive?" Sydney tells her then everything would be logical and have an explanation instead of us discovering the killer for the first time and there being no reason behind his appearance. Suddenly, she gets a video call from Stu, and with all arrogance he calls her Stu Gail and tells her, "Honestly, I missed you. I found out that you are sticking your nose in." She replies to him and tells him, "Sorry, I accidentally finished off your friend and ran over him with my car a while ago. Now take some time and choose righteous men or drown and execute yourself." He tells them that is enough for now. "Next time I will not leave you and I will enjoy finishing you off myself." He ends the call. After that, Sydney decides to help her and they will discover life together and start tomorrow morning at the hospital from which the killer escaped. In the morning, Sydney gets ready to go there, but her daughter stops her and asks her to let her come with her. She tells her that this is completely refused because she is not ready and it is not safe for her, and she does not want her end to be like her friend Tatum and lose her life too. Tatum argues that she always sees her as weak and in need of someone to protect her. She leaves her and leaves. After that, Sydney asks her husband to watch their daughter and not let her bring that boy named Ben because she suspects him. He reassures her that he is checking the phone numbers of all her friends and investigating them. If he is involved, he will bring him. Sydney arrives at the hospital and tells Gail that she just met with the coroner and found out that there are no papers proving that they received Stu's body. Even the doctor who was responsible for the deceased died 3 years ago. They enter the hospital to discover for themselves and ask about the condition of the patient Carl. The doctor who was responsible for his condition tells them that he was very violent and finished off 3 women. They notice from the drawings in his room that he only draws women. At that time, they ask him if he heard him talk about a famous horror series or something close to that, and they consider the possibility that he might be one of the obsessed fans of her. But he denies this. They show him a picture of Stu, hoping he might know him. He surprises them that yes, he knows him. He came to the hospital and had memory loss as a result of an accident he was involved in that caused all the scars on his face. He was calling himself John. He shows them his room as well. When they ask about him, he tells them that he left 2 weeks ago and he was also Carl's close friend. After that, Sydney tells Gail that she just met with the deputy and she told her that they were able to monitor his phone and all they need is for him to call her. At that time, Sydney tells her, "I know how to make him call me, and I will fulfill your request that you asked of me a long time ago. I will agree to do an interview with you." Gale becomes very happy. We see Mark as he hears the sound of movement. He looks in the storage room and finds his equipment fallen. He does not know that this is a trick from the killer to lure him to him. He falls victim to his curiosity. Suddenly, the second killer appears and wraps a plastic bag around him and stabs him again and again. He starts with him to avenge his friend. On the other side, Tatum has run away without her father seeing her and took Chad and Mindy with her and went with them to her friends and her boyfriend Ben because Mindy advised her that based on past events the killer will be one of her friends or her boyfriend himself because that is how it always turns out. She suggested that she follow the great vision of Agatha Christie, who said that if you want to know who the killer is, gather everyone you suspect in one place. Tatum follows this plan, hoping to reach the killer. Mindy stands between them and confirms to them that the killer's goal is to bring back his Sydney from back in the day to the arena. It seems that he is obsessed with her, not just the film series, and he is trying to provoke her by any means to the point that he appeared to her as Stu to manipulate her. Mindy suspects all of them, but Ben the most because he has the motive, and it seems that Sydney is trying to keep him away from her daughter. At the same time, Sydney sits in front of Gale on a live broadcast and talks about how she and her family were attacked, and all indicators say that Stu died years ago. She tells her that if it is him, she wants to know why he is doing this and why he appeared suddenly after all these years. She keeps provoking him along with Gale on air, and they say about him that he always had no personality. She challenges him on air that if he is not afraid, let him come and call her in front of everyone. Gale takes the opportunity as usual and tries to make it a real interview and asks about her family and about her daughter, who is now the same age that Sydney started the events back then. But Sydney stops her and tells her that she does not want to talk about her family. She goes back to asking her about her close friend Tatum, who lost her life brutally, and her death affected her to the point that she named her daughter after her, and it was as if she blamed herself for what happened to her. At that time, Sydney refuses to answer her and tells her that the limit is here and the interview is over. After that, she blames her for trying to exploit her. But suddenly the method works and they find Stu calling them. He knows that they are monitoring the call and he affects them and tells them that he is in the same bar where her daughter is. At that time, Sydney rushes like crazy and tries to catch her daughter before he finishes her off. Meanwhile, Tatum opens her boyfriend's laptop and sees him making an AI video and putting his own face on Stu's. At that time, it becomes clear to her that he was just experimenting and not to misunderstand him. But she confirms that he is the killer and hits him with the laptop and runs quickly. But suddenly, she finds the real killer in front of her with a sharp tool in his hand. At the bar, Chad tells his sister that they should not have let Tatum go alone with Ben. "Honestly, I am not comfortable with this guy." She tells him, "You are right, me too." They go after her to save her from him if he is the killer. But they are surprised that they are locked in, and it seems that someone deliberately locked them in the place. In the bar kitchen, the second killer appears to Clover and cuts off the light on her and stands in front of her and chases her and attacks her. Suddenly, she spots a tool and turns and stabs it into him, but at that time she hits Chad, who came to save her, not the killer. The killer continues in her place and stabs him. But Mindy appears from behind him and hits him, and he injures her and knocks her to the ground. Clover manages to escape from him during that time. Suddenly, she finds Lucas coming to her and tells her that he can confront him, only there is no minute. Ben is thrown towards her after the killer pulled out his insides from his place. Clover is terrified and tries to hide from him. He pretends to have left and gives her safety, but suddenly he attacks her again and jumps on her and puts a piece of glass in her neck, and she loses her life. When he notices that Lucas still has life in him, he grabs his head and puts it on the iron rod. We see the first killer chasing Tatum. She screams in the streets but does not find anyone. She hides from him until her boyfriend Ben appears in front of her. At that time, he tells her that he is not the killer. She tells him, "I was wrong about you," and hugs him. Suddenly, the killer comes and attacks him from behind and stabs him more than one stab and finishes him off. She stands shocked but runs quickly before he does the same to her. She goes to hide in her mother's cafe. At the same time, a message reaches her mother that someone has entered the place. She understands that this is Tatum and that she is there now. Sydney communicates with her and tells her that she has hidden a gun inside and tells her that this is the right time that she should use it. Suddenly, she finds the killer standing in front of her and he manages to enter the password and enter the cafe. At that time, she goes inside and closes the door on herself and puts many desks behind it. As for Sydney, she opens the security cameras of the place from her end and calls her and tells her, "I cannot reach you, but I will not leave you and I will tell you what to do." She asks her again to reach the gun. After that, she teaches her how to use it. But Tatum tells her that he finished off Ben and breaks down while talking to her. She asks her to focus on her life because that is the most important thing now. She tells her exactly where he is standing because she can see him from the security camera. As soon as he is steady, she tells her to shoot him now. At that time, he is actually hit and falls to the ground. She confirms to her that she is proud of her, but there is one last step, which is to shoot him in the head as well to make sure he dies and does not come back again. While she is about to do that, he turns out to actually have 7 lives and attacks her. She tries to confront him and hits him with a fire extinguisher in front of her. As soon as she turns her head, she finds the second killer also arriving. They corner her with the pincers, one in front of her and the other behind her. At that time, she arrives at the cafe. Stu calls her and orders her to come to him alone so he does not hurt her daughter. She arrives there and he has set up several welcome videos for all the masked killers she met in the past years. She goes outside and at that time she finds the killer tying up her daughter and standing next to her. Suddenly, he takes off his mask and reveals himself as the doctor she met at the hospital. He tells her that he only lied to her about one detail, which is that he is Stu's friend, not Carl. He came back to avenge him. The first killer enters on her, but before he reveals himself to her, he brings her husband, who we discover is still alive. He reveals the first killer to her and she is shocked that it is Jessica, her neighbor. While she is surprised, Jessica confirms to her that Stu actually died a long time ago and they used artificial intelligence. They start fighting in front of her. The idea was whose turn it was. At that moment, Sydney tries to find out why she did this to her. At that time, Jessica tells her that she was her role model and her highest example back in the day, and she inspired her in her book, which is all about her getting rid of the villain at the end of the story. She decided to do the same and get rid of her husband. We understand that she is not sane. She confesses to her that she was actually being treated in a mental hospital and met Carl and the doctor there. She wanted to restore her to her glory by any means, even if it meant finishing off everyone around her. Sydney reminds her that she has a son to live for. But she tells her that she finished him off because she found that he reminded her of his father. It becomes clear that she is completely unstable. She tells her that she will make her daughter live the same life she lived when she was young and finish off her mother in front of her eyes and teach her everything and complete her legacy. At that time, Tatum distracts her attention and pushes her. At the same moment, Sydney pulls out her gun and finishes off the doctor. Jessica escapes from there. As for Sydney, she advises her daughter to call an ambulance for her father and goes after her until she reaches her. They fight each other. In the end, Sydney stabs her more than one stab, but she still has life in her. At that time, Tatum comes and shoots her several times. And amazingly, she is still alive as well. At that time, they cooperate together and shoot at her and shoot her in the head until they confirm her death. Gail arrives as usual late with Chad and Mindy, and we learn that they managed to survive. Mark is transferred by ambulance. Sydney talks to Gail and thanks her for being by her side all these past years, and she tells her that she was forced to leave town and leave at that time and she could not do without her. Sydney returns to her house and tells her the real truth that she never told her before, which is that she named her after her friend not because she was weak and just a victim, but rather because she was brave and did not care about anyone, and she hoped that her daughter would be strong like her. In the end, she decides to tell her everything about her past after she spent her whole life protecting her from it. The film ends.